This is what we look like in 2035.
I can't see a fucking thing.
Fucking thing, no, we are blind. Just to explain that in the future there'll be so much more leisure time that this will be the new formal wear. So Adidas exists in 2035, which is good to know. So thank you so much for joining. I've got to tell you, I can't bloody see anything. Thank you so much for joining day 2 of Futures. Very excited to be back on the stage again to celebrate what's coming at us in 10 years from now.
And on that note, let's talk a little bit about what these slate of courses are. Oh no, really? So this happened yesterday. Technology works great in the future. Great, awesome. So would love everyone to play along for just a moment. Close your eyes, if you would. Imagine it's 2035, 10 years from right now. What does the industry look like? What does our community look like? What is the nature of our businesses? How do our teams interact? Now, go ahead and open your eyes. And really what we want you to think about during this presentation, and if you stick around for the 3 other ones after, is what we can do today to build that future, to build that more utopian, less dystopian, which is real easy to fall into these days, version of our industry and community. So with that, oh boy, we've put together, we and the Education Committee, specifically the Futures Committee, have put together a collection of 20-minute talks, kind of TED style, to really dive in and hopefully inspire. And this committee, of which we have a couple of people in the room today, Claire and I co-chair it, along with Bobby over there, hello, coming from Singapore, Andrew Ho, and Stephanie Jordan. A small group, and really we dove into hundreds of applications and really tried to find a broad mix of courses to speak to the future of the industry.
Yeah, this was the mission that we set ourselves about a year ago, and we started to talk about what more could we do from a Tails perspective to set us up for success? And this was the conversation that we had in our committee meeting, was it maybe 18 months ago actually in LA? And we set out to think about, we've got 3 tracks at Tales of the Cocktail. We've got Beyond the Bar, Business of Bars, Bar Culture. They're all very much focused on what's happening right now. But what are we doing as a foundation to set our industry up for success? Thinking about just how quick the future is coming at us. So this is our ambition, is to establish this track. Love this soundtrack, thank you. Establish this track as the leading platform for forward-thinking discussions about the evolution of our industry, beverages, hospitality, and social gatherings. And our mission is very long, but I think for me to summarize, it's really to give space, create some room for those visionary conversations that we all know are within our gift. We know that there are so many visionary, inspiring, innovative people within our industry, and we wanted to create some space for them to come onto the stage and share their ideas.
So how do we bring that to life? We've got 4 pillars that have really acted as filters to select these courses, select these talks, and bring them together. And really, as Claire said, this is the foundation for a lot of stuff in the future. This is our first year, and it's a little messy, and we're figuring our way through it. So please tell us everything that we can do to make it better. But really, we're looking to, no, come on back. Inspire, promote, balance, and expand. And really, we're looking for innovative, dynamic discussions around topics that are really thought-provoking. We're looking for inclusivity and adaptability within these conversations. We're really looking, and this is vital, to balance theory and action. So we're not just talking about pie-in-the-sky abstract ideas, but how we can bring them to life as a community, as an industry, as a world. And expand, really expanding our voices beyond this community. And in the years that follow, we want to bring in a lot of voices that we don't typically hear here at Tales, of which you're going to hear a couple today. But really importantly, this is not a science fiction discussion. We're not talking about something that is fictitious and really just like expanding on human possibilities. This is more futurist than that. This is rooted in experience, wisdom, of data, and actionable ideas that we can bring to life. So that's really a really important lens for everything we're talking about, as fun as it would be to imagine what cocktails are in space.
Even though I do feel like I'm dressed from a Star Trek episode.
If you
Something
can't
like
see
that.
the heels,
Yeah.
the heels
I've got heels
really
on as
bring
well,
it all
guys. I mean,
together.
this really is like future outfit 101. So we have some incredible speakers today. We've got Leila Fataar, who's going to be talking about the future of culture. We've got Tiffany Nuremberg, who's going to be talking about the future of sustainability. We've got an extra special guest because Ben could not make it. He's in Australia, but we've got an extra special guest talking about the future of technology, our very own Alex Day stepping into the breach at last minute. Not all heroes wear capes, they wear cool visors. And we've got the future of hospitality with Sean Flynn. So it's an amazing collection of talks, all super inspiring, particularly Alex's. So please stick around for his.
Thanks for that pressure, Claire. One last thought. As you take in this course as well, this talk and the talks that follow, if you stick around, and we really do encourage you to stick around, is that these are ideas, but really these ideas mean nothing unless they're brought to life. So I want to encourage you all to hopefully take some of this, take this back to your world, take this back to your lives, your businesses, your brands, whatever area that you come to at Tales. We hope this germinates and breeds change in what you do and how you think. Or put another way, ideas are cheap, but action is really hard. And that's where the work is put in, by taking ideas and really manipulating them, iterating them in the messy reality that is our human existence. So all to say, we're here to inspire, well, less us, more the speakers are here to inspire, and hopefully get you to do something a little bit different and think beyond today and into the next 10 years.
So let's do this. This is the way that the sessions run. It's very TED Talk style. Each speaker has 20 minutes, and we will have a little Q&A if there's time at the end of each session. And as Alex mentions, this is a brand new track, so we are iterating as we go. So if you love something, please tell us. If you hate something, please don't. No, I'm joking. If you hate something, please do tell us. Think about what we can add for next year. We'd love to hear your feedback. So without further ado, the wonders of modern technology enable us to invite Leila Fataar to join us all the way from London to talk about the future of culture. And I'll hand over to Leila. And Leila, you are now visible on screen. Go girl, thanks so much.
Just to say that the tracksuit and the heels are perfect. And not so much from the future, but thank you so much for the lovely introduction, everybody. And I'm so pleased to be here. I couldn't make it over to New Orleans this time, but calling in from a rainy London. And hopefully we can share some knowledge today, which is super exciting. So I guess I just wanted to start my screen with just saying, and I'm sure everyone feels this as well, we're literally in the biggest transformational era in history. We are right here when it comes to different ways of branding. The internal organizations are all being upended by politics, which I don't need to tell anyone about. Societal changes, technological changes, AI coming in and upending everything. Environmental changes, which I know the next speaker will be talking about. And brands can no longer sort of operate in a vacuum without understanding what is happening and what the impact of all these changes are on people. And I guess this is what I kind of wanted to explore a little bit, because we hear these words all the time: identity, influence, community, and and culture. And so I wanted just to explain to you, after my 30 years of working within this area, what I've come to after that amount of time, as to what I feel culture really is and how this needs to move forward in this next era of culture-led brands. So I'm going to start off with a little story about myself. And believe me, there's a reason why I'm doing it. So just bear with me. Get asked a lot about what I actually do. In a nutshell, I help big global brands become relevant and maintain relevance in culture. Didn't start that way, though.
The prohibition of the African National Congress, the Pan-Africanist Congress, the South African Communist Party, and a number of subsidiary organizations is being rescinded.
Apartheid was dismantled in 1994 when I moved from South Africa to London in 95 at the age of 22, making this year, 2025, my 30th anniversary both here and in my career. I wanted to be where people mixed, where you could be yourself. I knew London was home. I felt it even before the plane landed. I'm also really lucky to be part of Gen X. We were all about DIY, all about youth and fandom cultures of fashion, music, art, skate, and rave culture, especially jungle music, where I found my people, my community, my way of thinking, incorporating multiple communities across all these other cultures from all varieties of backgrounds. But there was no big career planned. I wonder what I was thinking with 200 pounds and no context or job lined up. In that first week I arrived, I grabbed a chance opportunity that changed the course of my life. With no plan B and no extra cash, I had to make this work for me. So I created my career from scratch, and I mean really from nothing, grabbing any opportunity to build on my skills and learn. I stayed forever curious about everything and everyone around me. But my mum always said that I had an intangible ability to understand what resonates in the world. Yes, I've created my career around that skill. And as soon as I could, I've tried to open the gates for others like me, whether that's through my own businesses or in-house at big global brands. This underpins who I am really because of where I'm from. I found my niche in respectfully and credibly embedding big brands into culture. It was only later, really, that I truly realized the impact of my background and my interests on shaping my career and life, both then and still now, in fact. I love it. My archive is packed with tons of stories to tell. This journey has not been easy, but it has been amazing. And really, this is a sincere shout out to everyone who's been honored with me, who supported me and criticized me. It's time for the next 30 years. I'm trying to get to the next page, technology. And I share that because for me, it's only 30 years later that I understand and I'm able to articulate how I've always worked. And this is really important. So the culture stack is something that I've created, and it's in my book called Culture-Led Brands, which is out at the moment. And through all those years of working with no formal education in what I do at all, I've unlocked and uncovered that this is consistent within how I work. And that is that culture is the stuff of life. It's living and breathing all the time. It's impacted by, in two ways, I feel. One, through inherited culture. So South Africa, growing up, being born and raised in apartheid South Africa, means that my point of view on the world has always been about marginalized people, discrimination. Anything that feels this way really, really hits me. And that is the first lens that I look through the world at. On top of that is stacked my interest cultures. For me, early on, it was rave culture, skate culture, fashion, music, art. That can be multiple. And this stacks on top of this inherited point of view of the world. And there are multiple communities that are connected both in inherited and interest cultures as well. But what's important about any of this is that it's a reflection of reality. So anything, the generations, and I've been through everything in the last 30 years, generational politics, generational technology, and generational media, and the way the media is used impacts people around this culture stack. So when I talk about culture as the stuff of life, it's everything around us that impacts us, that influences us, that makes us understand what's happening in the world. But it's a reflection of reality, and it's a global connector of communities. An easy example is hip hop culture, right? So culture is the stuff of life. Music feeds the soul. We know that. A reflection of reality. If you think about hip hop and the lyricists from those days, they are just reflecting their realities. But what it does, it connects communities that relate to that around the world. That's what I call a global connective communities. And this is really, really essential. And this is something that has been there. I could only really articulate it more recently. Throughout the 30 years of experience. So I feel like brands need to understand how this works when it comes to identity, when it comes to communities, and of course, when it comes to culture. they've got to consider this when it comes to representation, when it comes to context, and when it comes to nuance as well, because all of this is about context and nuance. And so this culture stack is really important when it comes to how brands are seen by their audiences or how they want to show up. And this is really different than the 20th century, because before brands could drive the narrative. Actually, they need to be able to analyze what's happening in the world and how that's impacting humans and people to be able to know how to act accordingly and how to be organized and what kind of work to put out in the world. So it's really, really important that this kind of like rhythm of life, this kind of connects heritage, identity, lifestyle, politics, unspoken codes. This is the emotional part that brands talk about all the time, the things that move things forward. So this is a really, really important base of how sort of I see the world and how I do my work as well. And this has driven me to kind of get to a definition of cultural relevance or brand that's culturally relevant as one where a variety of people connect with that brand positively. That doesn't mean it has to be worthy, but it connects positively. And those people buy it, your consumers, they work for it, your employees, they advocate for it. So, you know, if you're being called out for something, you have people who are defending you out there because they understand that you are understanding the context and nuance of their life as well. And that's because a culture-led brand deeply connects with these audiences within the context of what's happening in their world and the wider world that's impacting them as well. And really, the evidence is overwhelming. So, a culturally relevant brand has a competitive advantage because it drives brand differentiation. It can grow your business sustainably without competing on price. And it can build resonance and drive longevity of the actual brand. So for me, this is really important because if I look at culture as the way I describe it, it impacts us all. It impacts you, your employees, investors, employers, consumers, communities, fans. It impacts our behavior and mindsets and helps us decide why we want to consume and buy certain goods and brands and services at any given time. So this is really a clarification from my point of view of 30 years of fairly successful projects for quite big brands in the world, small brands, big brands. I was actually the culture and entertainment director for Diageo, created that department, which was quite different, a culture-led, a culture-in way of doing things that work very, very closely with the portfolio. So what does that mean for the brand playbook? For me, it's like we're in a moment of transformation in the world, which means the brand playbook itself needs to evolve. And if I look at this broader view of culture, I think the way people call a culturally relevant brand today is if it's jumping onto a TikTok or trending topic. For me, that doesn't work. That is a marketing output. That is a channel. And that channel, as we can even see in America, could be taken down at any time. You know, TikTok, you know, last year, really under scrutiny and pressure to be banned. What does that say for brands who are only looking at that as their culturally relevant strategy? That doesn't work. Cultural strategy is across the board, and it's in the input, who you work with, who's in your team, what's the mindset, how you're operationally ready to do work that's culturally relevant. And it's a really different point of view, but that means fundamental and organizational change that happens within the business. And it's pretty complex, but that needs to happen for brands in this new era we're in to not only thrive, but actually survive. We might see some really big brands really not being able to go forward in this next era. And so I just wanted to put some, you know, to the point before, practicality into this kind of visionary, I guess, for me, quite rational way of looking at it. And thinking about 3 ways that brands and businesses can really start to shift in this moment of transformation. Flex your codes. of the brand and industry to break the formula. Everything out there is formulaic. Experiential's formulaic, content's formulaic, it all looks the same, it's all wallpaper. Take the opportunity to flex the codes that we are so used to doing. When we see something successful or we see a competitor successful, we go, oh, we need to do that too. No, you can do something different because that's going to cut through the noise. Fuel fan culture. You know, we talk about drinks culture, we talk about bar culture. You know, this is really important to be able to storytell around this. I think Claire and I working on some stuff at head office regarding the future of socializing. You know, what does that actually mean for fan culture? How do we deliver content, activity, and experiences across multiple platforms in the right format is really important. And as we go into this era of AI, you know, search is going to shift and change and transform as well. How will your brand be promptable? How will it be discovered in a time and a place where no one's actually searching for your name brand? It's no longer enough to have the biggest media budget. You have to be discovered by making sure that within culture, you are doing the things that are absolutely creating cultural relevance, which we've defined before as making a positive impact to all your audiences in a way that only your brand can do. So I'm hoping that that was helpful. I'm not really sure about the time at the moment, but I assume the time is up. So I shall leave it there and also say the book's out there at the moment. It came out in June this year, and it's a bit of a 30-year approach, a real sort of outsider look into big brands, but really with this insider knowledge, with my experience of own independent businesses, inside in big corporate brands, including Diageo, but also at Adidas as their global PR and social and content director, and now within Platform 13, which is again another new way of doing business as I identified the gaps through my career of what was happening in-house in big businesses. So created Platform 13 to be able to answer those gaps going forward. I hope that it was helpful and not too confusing. I tried to keep it as simple as possible, but it is complex. It is nuanced, but it is the future of brands. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leila. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
Not going anywhere. I'll have some water.
Don't you go anywhere. It is complex, but Leila's book is incredible. It's available on Amazon. I do recommend everybody who wants to be culturally relevant in the future, which is personal brands or brands themselves, should all really pick up that book and have a read. Does anyone have any? I think I've got time for one question for Leila. Anybody? Thank you. Yes. Hold on, Leila. Question coming in. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for this presentation. What really hit me, I don't know if anyone else has read it. The Times came out with this article. It's like 30 jobs that AI will take and like other ones that you can have. I'm not phrasing it correctly, but when you were talking about discoverability and the AI concept, and they were bringing up this, I guess, this new role where you basically are creating the brand voice through AI or for AI. And I just think, you know, maybe not as somebody in the beverage industry, you're not necessarily going to have like your job taken by AI, but somebody who's creating a brand voice. How does that look, and what's your take on it?
So for me, it's about thinking really, with AI, you've got to think quite differently. It's not the same as a new piece of software coming in. You know what I mean? It's really different. So imagine this. Person walking down the street, they pick up their new phone being created by the guy who designed Apple, who's working on an AI assistant at the moment. Could be in your phone, could be a separate thing. And you go, oh, I'm wishing for an old-fashioned. And AI will search and understand where the closest place is for you to get an old-fashioned. It may come up with reviews about it. How do you know that first of all, your bar is showing up close by? Because it will find what's being talked about the most. You've got to become promptable. So when a person prompts for whatever they're looking for, an old-fashioned at the closest bar, I'm in New Orleans, how do you know that your bar will come up as on part of that response? And then what else will people be asking about in order for you to make that decision to go to that bar to have that particular old fashioned? So that's just very, very quick one on what it could be. So that's the area you've got to start experimenting in. Promptability and discoverability as opposed to search. I hope that answers your question. It's quite complex, but I think a bit more research into it, and hopefully you can start experimenting for what you would need for quite a fast and incoming technology that's really different to things we've seen before.
Amazing.
Was
Thank
that
you so
all?
much. Yeah, it's amazing. Leila, thank you so much. Round of applause for Leila, all the way from London. Leila, thank you so much. See you for a drink soon.
You will. Bye. Thanks,
Bye, darling.
everybody. Bye. Bye.
Bye. We're going to break for 5 minutes while we let some more people in and reset. So the next talk is future of sustainability. And so give us 5 minutes and we'll be right back. Thank you.